Hello guys, once again it's Matt, and today we have another video. Thank you all the members, all the patrons. Make sure to subscribe. We're trying to hit 50k until the end of the year. And let's get going, guys. We are talking a little bit about the HMS, the helmet mounted sight on the F-4J. If you don't know, he actually received the helmet mounted sight. It works on the same way as in the MiG-29, okay? And it is a very interesting story. I didn't research too much on it, but apparently it was made in the early 70s, apparently in 1969, 1970, 1971, as the VTAS, I think it's called. And it is basically a way to help the F-4s on a dogfight to actually, just look at the target and lock a target. So it would be a lot quicker to actually detect, just lock a IR missile, right? So we are testing it out on the F-4J. Of course, it is known that the South Africans actually used that in combat, and also the Soviets introduced that in the 80s as well. But the Americans apparently were the first to do it. Apparently it was too expensive or something like that. The money just went for for other projects, because it is a very good idea, and basically everybody uses this today, or some form of well, actually they use helmet mounted display, so they have more information on it. But still, back in the day, a helmet mounted sight would help a lot. Obviously it's not like water and wine kind of difference, especially because we are using a 70s aircraft with 70s weaponry. So especially in the Navy kind of Phantoms here, we are using the AIM-9G and not the AIM-9J or even an R60 or something like that. So it's not the most maneuverable missile ever. So it's not something that will completely change the aircraft. But it does help. It does help being a little bit quicker on the trigger, especially when you are trying to turn or get somebody that it is actually trying to do a maneuver or something like that. I like to use the F4s without a cannon to make me be a little bit lighter, and especially introduce me to actually kind of a more interceptor kind of style of gameplay, and not trying to actually do dogfights with it, which can be a problem with such an aircraft, especially now facing 4th gen. But indeed, it does help a little bit, especially in the dogfights, this helmet-mounted sight. As I said, you still need to be careful with the AIM-9. As you see, it is working right here. Whenever I aim, the missile will try to lock it. I locked the sun there by mistake. But you will see there, here, for example, a great option to do it. For example, I am already warming the missile up, and the missile is already locked on the target. And once I have the nose authority on the target, I can fire a missile. On the AIM-9G, you have the ability of firing a little bit before that, just due to the fact that it has a lot of energy. It is a missile that has a lot of burn time. So it's one of the ways that you can actually deal with that. So yeah, it does help a lot, but it's not completely changing the aircraft. It's still, you need still to be careful with flares and other stuff. The missile is not perfect, obviously. So there is that. Hopefully in the future, these aircraft together with other ones, they can actually get more missiles. Or I don't know if the F-4J actually received the AIM-9L, but if it is using the AIM-7F, which is basically around the same year or around the same time as the AIM-9L, I would imagine that the F-4J actually used the AIM-9L. So in the future, it probably can use it, maybe even with the package to become the S variant with the Agile Wiggle. That would make these aircraft one of the best Phantoms in the game, and truly a very capable aircraft. Right now, it does seems to lack a little bit, especially against the 4th gen. The radar is very limited, as you're going to see throughout the gameplay. You lose a lot of locks. It is a very old pulse doppler radar. You cannot even take a look on the distance of the target using the pulse doppler, because it only has the pulse doppler velocity. But yeah, it is usable, but it lacks a little bit. I think there are more aircraft that are in more desperate need of new missiles, I think the main one is always going to be the F4F, but still it would be nice to have that, especially when you are facing MiG-29s and such. It is, even with the HMS and the M7F, it is kind of a, I don't know, it doesn't feel like, I mean, what is this? What is this missile doing there? Like, it is kind of crazy, right? So, I don't know, it's just lacking a little bit. The missiles tend to miss a lot. Of course, the helmet-mounted sight helps a little bit on actually getting the right target that you want, as you see over here. But it's still it's problematic, right? So, yeah, as you see, it's very easy to just lock the target that you want and maintain the flight path that you are. You can also hold C, which is the camera key, and look around and try to fire an off-bore shoot as well. But normally the best way to actually use it is actually on the vertical kind of side of things, that you really want to actually, you know, use the missile, trying to get the missile before your nose is on the target. That's the main way to use the helmet mounted sight. This is in the MiG-29 and it is on here as well. So yeah, very interesting. Another thing that was changed, as you see, the flares are changed. Apparently he lost some of the flares that he had before, if I'm not mistaken, and also it is firing from like an inside pod of flares that it's inside the aircraft. It's very funny. You can see it clearly there on the top part of the fuselage there. Two doors opened on the top part, and the flares, they come out of there. So yeah, here you can see a very good usage of the helmet mounted. You can just get a very quick lock and just fire the missile. So it's very easy. And yeah, you do need to be careful with flares and basically countermeasure rich environments, especially when you are in the middle of furballs and stuff. But it does help a lot. It really does. It is just a fun factor, right? Even in the cockpit, it has a different kind of sight that you can use from the MiG-29. So very, very cool. And as you see, the F5, the AIM-7 can be problematic, especially flying low. The radar radiation coming from the ground kind of overwhelms the amount of pulse Doppler filtering that you have. But still, you can use it, but it is problematic. So having a little bit more of a help on that with the AIM-9G, it does help a little bit. I imagine this aircraft with the AIM-9L, if you ever receives it, as I was saying, it would be very, very much a complete game changer for it, due to the fact that it can use the helmet-mounted sight. I don't know at what instance these helmet-mounted sights were used in real life, but it's something that you never hear of. I mean, the first time I actually heard of it was in our Discord and talking a little bit about it. And it was just weird because it is something completely that nobody ever talks about, how the US actually had that. Normally people say that it's the Russians that were the first, or even the South Africans sometimes, which actually had a pretty interesting system on the Mirage F1. And hopefully, I mean, it was even one of my ideas, right? When they announced the Mirage F1 C200, why didn't they just add, I mean, there's a factor of politics there and other things like that it's problematic, but due to the apartheid and stuff, but on South Africa. But still, we already have South African vehicles, right? And yeah, the Mirage F1Cs from the South African Air Force actually use that. So it would be interesting to have a premium aircraft as an export variant that has the helmet-mounted sight. So yeah, that would be very interesting. But as I said, it is problematic due to the politics side of things and racism, of course, you know. So I understand why they probably try to left that out, maybe, or yeah, maybe something like that was in their minds. But let's not get too much into that. So yeah, but the F4, it really does help a little bit. But you still need to be careful. See how you can actually like kind of do an off-board kind of thing there, but you don't have the all-aspect missiles, so you're kind of stuck with the AIM-9G, so you have to kind of use the limit of that missile, right? But anyway, I hope you enjoyed, guys. Let me know in the comments what you think about this aircraft. The capabilities of it are improved a little bit, but not by much. It doesn't change the fact that it is still an F4 and it loses a lot of dogfights and stuff against these 4th generation aircraft that are on the game. So yeah, but anyway, I hope you enjoyed. Make sure to subscribe and I see you guys on the next one. So bye guys, see you.